In a recent Q&A session with the students of my Square Secrets business course, someone asked, I've heard you say before that you don't need to learn to code in order to build a successful web design business. But with all these Squarespace CSS courses popping up, I feel like custom coding knowledge might soon become industry standard in order to land clients. What do you think, Paige? So in this video, I'll be sharing exactly what I shared with my students on that call with you. But before we dive in, if you've been struggling to land enough clients in what feels like a super oversaturated market, then I invite you to take advantage of a free training which I pre-recorded just for you. It's called Finding Clients as a New Designer, and I go through the 7 mistakes that you could be making that are keeping you small and struggling as a new website designer. I'll pop the link for that here for you, and you can also find it in the description below. Okay, so first things first, I want to make it super clear that I am not knocking coding in this video. Being great at CSS is never going to be a bad thing, and the ability to write your own custom code is hella impressive life skill, and you can honestly never have too many of those. And obviously, with custom coding, you could be creating much more complex designs. But is complex really what your ideal clients are dreaming about when they picture their future website? In a nutshell, no, it's not, and I'll share why in just a minute. But first, a little insight on what has you feeling all of this coding FOMO. As web designers, we tend to live in a bit of a bubble. And what makes up our bubble? Other website designers. Because all of our endless desire to grow and improve, we're naturally going to want to surround ourselves with examples of other people who seem to already have what we want. So we follow other web designers on social media and on Pinterest, and we read their blog posts and their articles. We join web designer Facebook groups by the handful, trying to decode the secrets to other people's success. And suddenly, 99% of what we're consuming online is created by designers for designers, and all from the designer's perspective only, which you'll learn in a moment is very different from your client's perspective. Even our paid ads are screaming, you need this to be successful, because the creator of that sponsored content asked Facebook to serve ads to people who were interested in, you guessed it, website design. So it's impossible not to look around and think, everyone else is coding except for me. But the truth is that not everyone else is coding. We just have this super skewed perception of what's happening because we live in our little web designer bubble, and coding happens to be trending in all the content that we're consuming. So if CSS this and CSS that is all we're seeing in our feeds, then it must be the new standard for excellent design, and our clients are going to demand it, right? Well, not exactly, and here's why. Your client does not live in that same bubble. Your client who's a restaurant owner or a life coach or an author or a yoga teacher, they don't exist in the 24/7 web design saturated bubble. They literally have no clue whether or not you are a coding genius. They just see your services page and portfolio page and think, wow, this person totally gets me or gets my style, or wow, this person doesn't understand my needs or industry at all. To them, all this website building stuff is just wizardry. They've never taken a crack at Squarespace, and if they have, they obviously gave up because they're looking to hire a pro to do it, right? So the fact that you can create them a gorgeous custom website that actually attracts and converts their ideal customer legit makes you some sort of super goddess developer in their eyes, even if you didn't use a lick of code to achieve that result. So if you're currently panicking because everybody in your circle seems to be talking about custom coding, just know that unless your dream client happens to be other Squarespace designers, then they haven't noticed a difference between websites from 5 years ago and websites of today. Though you might be wondering, what if I'm hired by a client and then they ask me to do something that requires custom coding? And this is honestly not uncommon. I actually give a detailed, honest answer about what to do in that situation in another video where I tackle the 5 myths about becoming a website designer, which I will link in the description below for you to watch right after this one. So if your clients aren't looking for complex websites, what are they really looking for in a website designer? Well, obviously, number one, they're looking for good-looking websites. There's no question about that. But there are so many other factors that go into being their number one pick. You also need to understand your dream client's specific industry and the unique hurdles that they face, including which third-party tools and integrations they're going to need on their website so it does what they need it to do. You need to also be able to speak to a very specific person, your dream client, with your own website copy, aka your website words, Your business's overall messaging should get potential clients dreaming of what it would be like to say yes to working with you by showing examples of other people just like them that you've been able to help through a strategically designed portfolio, client-winning testimonials, and transformational storytelling. Now, take any existing branding your client has and create a pleasing, cohesive design and layout, but with actual sales strategy and buyer psychology in mind. I've seen ridiculously complex custom websites with all the coding that manage to cover exactly 0 of these important bases. So many designers skip over the foundations in their hurry to get to the sexy sounding stuff. But no amount of fancy dancing buttons or magical CSS fonts can make up for the foundational skills that many designers lack, and they will always stay small and struggling without them. So if you're currently struggling to land clients, rather than getting into panic and think you have to rush out and go learn 7 new coding languages in order to start seeing inquiries in your web design business, you might want to invest the time and resources needed to nail those foundational skills first. So this is one reason you'll hear me saying this on repeat, is that I just don't want designers to get stuck trying to put the CSS cart before the horse, before they really understand website design and business building best practices. But there's an even more important reason why I preach not needing CSS, and that is my desire to bust the myth that you need to learn to code in order to set up a hella successful web design business. This myth makes it feel impossible for newbie designers without prior design experience to get started, when in fact, this couldn't be further from the truth. I have witnessed firsthand through literally my own story and the stories of over 4,000 past Square Secrets and Square Secrets business students how it's possible to come from a completely unrelated background and build a fully booked out web design business that blows your 9-to-5 income out of the water. And those people, the ones stuck believing the lie that this work from wherever dream is not possible for them because they don't know how to code or they don't have any past CSS experience, are the people I'm speaking to when I say this on repeat. So if I sound like a broken record about this whole CSS business, it's because I'm taking a page from my own book and speaking directly to my ideal audience about the exact fears that they are facing themselves. So with that being said, can learning coding be beneficial? Absolutely. If you love it and you have those other designer foundations nailed, go for it. I actually have a past student who made it her mission to become the expert in custom coding and make Squarespace CSS her niche. And do you know who her clients are? They are not your average business owner in need of a complete website build. They are actually other website designers. Yep, her bread and butter clients are web designers who are looking to outsource the odd client request that does come in that isn't possible using Squarespace's native or built-in features. So if learning a new language legit brings you joy, then absolutely CSS would be a super fun new way to add value to your web design packages and potentially team up with other designers who aren't looking to specialize in that themselves. Now, writing custom code is a highly specialized skill, so most designers you see out there touting CSS on their Squarespace websites are usually just reaching for pre-made snippets or plugins that they've either purchased or found in a free tutorial, me included. So it can definitely be fun and honestly very useful to have a little library of your favorite go-to CSS snippets on hand. I actually recently did a roundup series on the blog of over 70 free Squarespace CSS snippets, which you can feel free to help yourself to at the link in the description below this video. But I still highly recommend reading my blog post called "Should I Use Code on My Client's Squarespace Website?" before going too crazy with the copy and paste CSS. So that will be linked below for you as well. It's a super good read. Highly suggest you check that out. But anyways, all of this is to say that the myth that everybody is coding these days is just that. It's a myth. Truly learning to write custom code literally requires you learning a new language, which again, could be a fun challenge if that's your jam. But in order for the time-consuming nature of custom CSS and coding to really start being outweighed, you need to become pretty quick at rattling off all those lines of complex code off the top of your head. I personally loved being able to complete an entire web design project from start to finish in just 2 weeks. So I made it a priority to save myself major time and learn the secret hacks and workarounds that make the site look and feel like you've done a bunch of fancy custom coding, when really it was all done quickly and easily using the platform's built-in features. And my clients loved it because they had this super custom looking website, but without the stress and added expense of having to pay me in the future to update it if the code broke or if they wanted to do something as simple as swap out a bit of content. They could easily update and maintain their own website using Squarespace's simple user interface. And I, as a designer, really loved it because it meant I could fully hand over the finished design knowing that the client wouldn't be contacting me with a coding emergency while I was busy trying to be fully present with another client. Or, sipping frozen margaritas on a beach somewhere. And now students of my Square Secrets course love it too, because they are finally learning the secrets to getting those gorgeous custom designs they are picturing out of their head and onto the actual page without having to spend hours trying to figure out how to code it into existence. So if you could use some help leveling up your design portfolio and breaking out of the cookie cutter Squarespace template mode, then I definitely invite you to join me and over 2,000 happy past students inside of my Square Secrets course. Currently only open enrollment just a couple times a year, so head to the link in the description below to get details on when the doors open for that course next. Now, if you found this video helpful, be sure to let me know by hitting the like button. And for the best tips on building a web design business that you love, don't forget to subscribe and tap the little bell button to be notified when new content drops on my channel every single week. I'd also really like to know your thoughts and opinions on this one, so please do leave me a comment below with that too. If you have anything to say on the whole, do I need a code debate? And if you're still looking for something to watch, be sure to check out these videos too.